Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to another Plan With Me video. This week we are back planning or memory planning what was the week of August 28th through to September 3rd. And I am using this incredibly old kit from SPC. It is once again another kit that I have had in my collection for the longest time. I think it was actually a mystery kit. The date and month of what mystery kit it was will be in the title, so of course you guys will know by having seen and clicked on this video. For anyone who may be new here, hi, hello, welcome. This was an interesting week, lots of adventures. It was the week of Father's Day in Australia. I'm really happy with how this spread turned out because, again, this kit, like I said, is something that I've hoarded for the longest time, and I never knew when I was going to use it because, to be honest, my husband and I don't go on a lot of adventures, so to speak. We go out of the house and stuff, but generally we don't go bushwalking, or we don't go, river walking or out in nature, I guess. We tend to go to the movies, or we go out for food, or I don't know, go to a market or go to the arcade or something like that. So every time I was planning out spring kits, I would completely surpass this one. Surpass? Is that it? What? I would flip past this one because as beautiful as it is, as vibrant as it is, I just never really had the occasion to use it. And again, for anyone who may not know, I have been trying to be really intentional about the kits that I've used, the kits that I'm using, and the kits that I'm purchasing moving forward. So I'm really trying to use kits that complement a specific occasion or event or something that I do in my life. And this particular week, we did actually go and have a little lunch date by the river near us. Well, not near us, but kind of near us. And there's actually a beautiful double box scene with some picnic chairs by the river. And whilst we didn't really have a picnic in that way, we didn't have, the little camping chairs and, all of the food and stuff like that. It was more, we kind of gathered, we got a pre-made, pre-built-in table at the river. We all bought our own lunch on the way, and we kind of just had a gathering at the river. So whilst this isn't completely reflective of the kind of picnic that we had, it's still picnic vibes. It's by the river. And so it was a bit of a stretch, but I decided that this would be the perfect occasion to use this kit. So really excited about it. I'm also a pink girly. So there is a whole lot of vibrant, gorgeous pink throughout this spread, which I love. I love the gingham patterns. I don't know, I just really love how everything turned out. I wasn't sold on the bow washi. There's something about this type of bow that came with the foil pack. I'm not really a fan of it, so I opted not to use it, and I used the kind of smaller confetti bows for the washi overlay, and then I just used the headers as they were because I thought that they were kind of subtle enough to work. I also think I'm about to get the hiccups, so if I start making strange voices while I'm talking, that is why. But yeah, for anyone who is following along and who watched my Plan With Me previous to this, I had actually mentioned that I had an international visitor come over. So one of the boys that I was an au pair to back in 2010 to 2011, he actually flew to visit. So I looked after them for a year in Germany. And when I left, the eldest boy was 10. He's now 22, almost 23. And he decided to plan a surprise visit to me. He's now in Australia doing his own au pair stay for 12 months. He had one family. He had a bit of a gap between moving to the next family. So he decided to come and see me at my house before he went to the next family. And he coordinated it with my family, with my husband, and I was completely in shock. Wonderful surprise. But this was essentially the first week. So he arrived late on Saturday night, so the weekend prior to this, and this was the first week of his stay. Unfortunately, because I didn't know he was coming, I didn't really get to have any time off work. I think I had maybe one day off during the whole 3 weeks he was here, and that was purely because I'd pre-planned that day off for my husband's birthday, which happened to fall, within his stay. But because it was so busy at work, I was in the middle of, I changed positions within his stay, so I couldn't really take any leave because I hadn't pre-booked the leave. But we did the best that we could. We, on weekends, we always went and had an adventure. We obviously made him aware of the bus stop and things like that, so that if he wanted to go out and about whilst we were working, he was more than welcome to do that. And he spent a lot of his time traveling on his own, going and sightseeing all of the things he'd put on his list. So it worked out well. So let's go ahead and talk through the week. So on the sidebar, very stock standard of me, there was a full box that came with this kit. So I was definitely going to use that. And then I chuck another full box in. I do my top left deco situation. And then there was just enough room to put a little box. So I actually made mention of the fact that this was Nico's first week with us. And let's go ahead and just jump right into the day by day. I also have to go and pick up my husband from the station in roughly 20 minutes. So I have to get through this relatively quickly. So let's just jump right in. So first things first, on Monday, it was actually an office day for me. It's so gross having an office day on a Monday because for me, it takes such a while to get to the office. So I'm waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Monday after having an international guest arrive on the weekend. And yeah, it was just a whole thing. But alas, we did it. I did it. I worked in the office that day. I did mark that we had some training on that day. So I just marked what that training was below that. And then I was incredibly tired. So I made a point of marking that it was a long ass day. Also, just a little preface before I continue on, I do not mention where any of the stickers that I'm using are from. I do mention each of the stores that I use in the description below, but if you would like to know where something specific is from, drop it in the comments below and I will be sure to get back to you. But yeah, so long ass day. And then that night, it was really hard. The thing that I found the hardest with this when having someone over is that the lifestyle that people live in Germany is very, very different to how we are in Australia. There, they have hot meals all the time, fresh meals cooked for them daily. I know that the house that I lived on, so his mum, she was making hot breakfasts, lunches and dinners all the time. If not, they were having fresh pastries and bakery rolls and things like that every morning for breakfast. And in my household, it's just me and my husband. So generally both of us get our own breakfast because we both work separately. We both have our own lunch because my husband's obviously at work. I work from home majority of the time. And then dinner, we tend to have something really quick and easy. Things like spaghetti, or, some nights we will have a toasty, or, we do have, spaghetti bolognese, not just tinned type spaghetti, sauce. We have bolognese and, we'll have lasagnas and we'll have, the occasional roast dinner and things like that. But for the most part, Monday to Friday, we just have something quick and convenient. So it was really hard because I felt pressure and an expectation to do that whilst he was here. So we also wanted to, amidst doing that, we also wanted to make sure he got the Australian experience. We didn't know what he'd done with his host family prior to us. So we wanted to make sure he tried some, authentic Australian things. So this particular night for dinner, he did have some meat pies. I think it was just pies. He didn't really want much else. Wasn't a very big eater. So he had some meat pies and sauce. I think he had sauce. I can't remember. But I figured, very Australian to have a meat pie. So that's what he had on night one for dinner. So I popped that in my planner. Then he did go to bed again relatively early that night. He was generally 9:30. He would say goodnight to us and go upstairs to spend time in his room, which is totally fine. He'd watch his movies or his series or catch up with his friends, that was fine with us. But that was the opportunity that we had to let our dogs in. We do have one dog. He can be territorial. And because we did rescue him and we don't really know his history, he can be snappy as well. So rather than risk him snapping or there being an altercation, we just kept the dogs out while he was here. So every night when he went to bed, that was the time that we let the dogs in. So I then marked that we spent some time with the boys. And then I just marked spending some time with my husband. So that was kind of it for Monday. On Tuesday, the first thing that I have marked is work. And then I did note that I actually worked an 8 a.m. to a 6 p.m. shift. So it was one of those days where I did a lot of hours. This was the first day that Nico went out to venture on his own. He wanted to get a haircut, and because I was working, I couldn't take him. So he ended up getting on a bus and taking himself in to get a haircut at our local shopping centre. I've then marked that I needed all of the coffee. And then when I finished work, I did mark relaxing on the couch. So when I finished work at 6 p.m., I literally just laid and died on the couch. I then marked that Nico, being our international guest, he did get lost on the way home. So he actually got off a few stops too early. And it's not a long drive, but it's probably about a 10-minute, 15-minute walk from where he got off. And because it was his first adventure by himself, I decided I'd get in the car and go and pick him up. So I did that. So I just marked that he got off at the wrong stop. And then that night we actually had a butter chicken stir fry for dinner. This is going to be the first time you guys see me marking dinners every night, because I kind of just only ever really mark if we have something really good or if we have takeout. On Wednesday, I've marked work for the day. Again, I worked another 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. a day. And then marked that we had a thunderstorm. I'm just clicking at my dog who's itching himself to death right now. Jet, please stop. We had a thunderstorm. I marked that it was payday. And then I marked that when I finished work for the day, Nico was sitting down in our living room and he was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've never watched it. It's been on my to-watch list. I did see a couple of episodes of it. Thought it was pretty funny. So may get to watching that soon. I then marked again that we chilled out that night with the pets and each other once he'd gone to bed. And then that night we actually took him to our local takeaway store. So we got some hot chips. I think he got a spring roll or a Chico roll or something like that. And then he got a hot dog on a stick, battered salves, tried all that sort of stuff. He actually really, really liked it. So yes, we had takeout, but again, Australian fish and chips, they don't do it like that over there. I don't even know if you can get the same thing over there, because they have pommes or just fries, but I don't think they do a chips and fish. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a very long time. On to Thursday, I've marked that I had work at the top of the day there, and then this day was my waxing and nail appointment. So I have marked that. Before I came home from those appointments, I did make a point to go to Woolworths, because again, he was enjoying having fresh pastries and danishes and things like that for breakfast, as opposed to cereal or toast. So I stopped at the shop and got him some fresh danishes, some juices, stuff like that. That night for dinner, I decided that I was going to get KFC, because you guys know every time I go and get my waxing and nails done, I generally get KFC on the way home. And because my husband was going to be at home with Nico, they got pizza and they watched the football together. So I did mark that. It was the first NRL game that Nico had ever seen. So obviously Michael was explaining everything to him. And when I got home, they were both just chilling on the couch watching football and eating their pizzas, which was very cute. And then once again, I just finished out Thursday by marking that we spent some time with our doggos. So Friday, I did actually have the day off. Apparently we did quite a lot on Friday, so let's skim through that. So we did wake up early on Friday and we went into Sydney City or Sydney CBD. We started off our day by having a delicious breakfast. So we went to the Gillian Cafe, or the Gillian, I don't know how you say it. We had some, breakfast. I don't remember. I think he had some danishes or pastries. I think I had a eggs on toast situation and a coffee, and I think my husband had I think my husband had, I was going to say he had a big breakfast, but I'm pretty sure he had waffles off memory. It was really, really yummy, and it was right on the harbour, so we were by the water. It was really, really pretty. Then we took him to the Opera House, had a bit of a walk around, had a bit of a look at the views, took some photos of the Harbour Bridge, him in front of the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, those kind of touristy things. And then he wanted to go to the Wax Museum, so he was actually, that was Madame Tussauds in Sydney was on his to-do list. So we made a point of going there. We spent some time there, took some photos with the wax figures. We finished that much quicker than I thought we would, so we then jumped on a ferry to Manly. It was windy as heck, but we got on a ferry and we went and we had lunch at the Bavarian and walked around Manly. So the Bavarian is obviously a German-inspired food chain or restaurant for anyone who does not know. So we thought that that would be a nice spot to go. And again, that was overlooking the water. It was a nice sunny day. So we ate our food. We walked along the beach. We did a walk around like the suburb. And then we jumped back on the ferry and went back to the Opera House because he wanted to see it at sunset. We took some more photos. There was some sort of like street dance battle happening, so we watched that for a little bit. And then my husband actually works in the city, and he works on a really high up floor, and they have this like overlooking balcony that looks over the entire city. So we were very, very lucky. My husband actually took myself. I've never been to his workplace in all his years that he's worked there, and he's worked there like 10 plus years. He took us both up to look at the city at night from there. It was really, really pretty. We then went to Pitt Street Mall to have a bit of a look around. And then the last thing that I marked was that my football team got eliminated from the finals on that night. And then let's skip through the weekend. So Saturday we went to Kmart. We had Subway for lunch, and then that's when we went to the river and met up with my in-laws for Father's Day. So we just caught up, ate, hung around with the doggy because she was unwell. I'm running out of time. But basically we did a lot of family things. It was Father's Day. We had some breakfast on the Sunday. We went to get KFC, and then we spent some time with my dad on Sunday night. So we did all the in-law and family things for Father's Day over the weekend. But yeah, that is it. I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.